That's hot. When that cools down, it'll be better. Today, we're working on my 1940s Ford rat rod project that we found abandoned in the Arizona desert. Regardless of the fact that we're gonna be racing this in less than a month, I actually just wanna get it driving. So that's what we're gonna be working on today. So we're at the point in the project where we need to get the floor and interior kind of tied up because things are gonna start running through there. And I need to make sure I'm out of the way of the seats, out of the way of the steering, and out of the way of the brakes. And I need the floor in there to do all of that. So while I'm chasing my deadline on this, Zach, who normally is helping me, is gonna be chasing his own deadline.
Later this week, we have plans to race go-karts. I took last week off early, so I did not get my go-kart done. So today, I've got to fix that and catch up with everybody else.
So last week I had Zach tie in this rocker panel to the frame using this flange piece here, and he silicate bronzed it. Super cool, love the vibe. But we need to finish tying that into the rest of the floor. So that's where we have this little flange piece here. After we weld this piece in, we can attach the rest of the floor to that. And I actually want it to come across this and then up like a pan. So if you spill your drinks or something, it's kind of staying in there. So off of that floor flange that comes up, we can easily bolt some panels into the transmission tunnel. That would look super good, I think. That's enough talking. Let's get doing. "19 inches, huh? All right, so we're gonna need a piece that ties this cab corner in to the center. And that's all gonna be welded in. All of the stuff that we're adding today stays with the cab forever. So until someone like me 100 years from now is like, I wanna turn this truck back into original. Nice, that'll probably fit. All right, so now that we got that piece tacked in, I'm not gonna weld it up yet because that would just waste my time, and I wanna get the rest of this floor in. I want this next piece to be able to be unbolted and pulled out. So the way it's gonna work is that piece is gonna bolt in, and then the pieces that come up to this trans tunnel are also going to bolt in. Either way, it's a win-win situation. All right, we got our floor pan here. Let's see how it fits. Like a glove. Like a glove. Wow, that looks good. Come look at this, Zach.
Wow, that's definitely coming along. It's gonna be super flat and clean.
I think I want to bead roll that.
Be pretty sweet.
Okay, go work on your go-kart. I'm gonna put the seat in there. Let's see how it feels. Oh yeah, this should be pretty comfortable for people. Still massive amounts of room. Like, this is great. All right, while we're in here, I might as well call Adam's drive shaft because we're gonna be cutting it close in here, I know, and it would be nice to know how close. So I'll give Adam's drive shaft a call and we can actually know 100% if we have to modify whatever tunnel we're putting in here.
Well, hello, sir. How are you?
Good, how are you doing?
I'm doing mighty fine, thank you.
I've got a drive shaft that I need help with.
Let's do it. What are you gonna do? Are you gonna hot rod it hard?
Yeah.
Twin turbo, big block.
Okay, 2.5 would be enough. I might do 2.5095 actually. 2.5095.
Okay, beautiful.
Yeah, man.
Sounds good then.
Okay. All right, my friend. We'll get it on and we'll get it to you.
Okay, appreciate it.
All right, thanks, buddy. Have a good one.
Nope,
Take care.
bye. I love those guys. They're great. And he's a new grandpa. While we're on the subject, I think it's a good time to point out that when you're measuring your drive shaft and the angles and whatnot, John from Adam's Drive Shaft actually has an app called Optimum Angle. So the app is set up to help you understand where your pinion angle needs to be in relationship to your transmission output. Because if those don't line up, you're gonna have crazy vibrations. And so on here, you have a single cardan or a double cardan. So we're gonna be running a single cardan. So I've already spent some time figuring this out. So I already know what it's gonna be, but it wants us to measure from the transmission side front. Okay, so we're gonna hold that square on there, measure 2.44, and then we're going to hold this right here. to hold it as square as you possibly can. Let's get on this other flanged surface. Boom, 1.89. Luckily I have some adjustment in these joints. It must have come loose or something. Okay, and so single cardons. So the guidelines to minimize vibrations are 0.5 to 3 degrees. And right here, we're within 1.5 degrees. Oh, it even says it right there, 0.55. So we're within 0.5 degree, and that's great. That's fantastic. It can also help you understand if your drive shaft is going to be too steep. On something that's lifted, or in our case, something that's lowered, our drive shaft angle is going to be angled quite a bit. And this will be able to tell you how far that drive shaft actually needs to angle. And you tell that to the drive shaft builder, and he'll get you squared away. He'll know what you need. All right, so we got our floor pieces down to about here. But since I want this top piece to bolt in, it kind of makes up there a little tricky unless we build the firewall next. So we'll slide that out of the way, and then we need to get a piece up in there. And luckily I already have one cut out. Boom, right here. So this piece is going to go sit in there just like this. And then it gets welded to the cab along this seam right here. I already cleaned the surface even. And then yeah, you can see I have another flange bent down there, and then that sits right there, just like so. Now we need to get this transition piece built and another flange to have that bolted down as well. So, and it's pretty much just gonna have the same profile as this piece. Lots of pieces, lots of layering, but all in all, I think it looks pretty good. So I do have a question for you. And in the beginning, I was just gonna have it cut out, but I actually kind of like it. And that is this part right here. I think if I cut this out, say along this marker line right here, it would leave too much of the black mill scale and kind of look alarming in there. So I think I'm gonna keep it, especially since on this side, it goes clear into there. So like, there's plenty of it. But like I said, in the beginning, I was originally gonna cut that out and put a whole new piece of metal there, but I kind of like it. You should let me know what you think. I'm gonna leave it for now, but if it doesn't turn out very good or I change my mind, we can always cut it out later because that piece will still be behind that. Because that firewall piece comes all the way up to here, and there's another bar that runs across. But before we can get this piece in, we do need to get this cut out and put in as well. So let's do that. 3, 2, 1, bam, in. See that? Got it in. It doesn't fit that great though. We got some trimming to do, and then I also like screwed up my measurement, so I gotta add a little filler piece there. But looking up that, it's fitting pretty good. Got the floor on the passenger side done, but I think Zach stayed late last night to get his go-kart done, and he's ready to drive.
Well, she's looking good. Am I right?
Yeah.
Now we gotta find out how she rides.
There you go. Get out of here. He knocked it off again. Alrighty, that thing needs some more work, but I need your help on the rat rod today, so let's get to work. I have a question for you, Zach. Have you ever been so deep into a build that you just forget to eat, realize that you're just running off of caffeine from an energy drink a couple hours ago?
Absolutely.
And that's exactly why I use Factor. Because when I'm building cars or designing parts, or just simply living at the shop trying to get a project done, cooking is just simply not on the schedule. Factor sends fresh, chef-made meals straight to your door, and they're ready to eat in about 2 minutes, which is about the same amount of time as it takes to cut out a part of my plasma table. And the best part is that these actually taste really good. Not like sad microwave food. There's real ingredients in these. High protein, none of the fake stuff. It's weird watching me eat. Is it rude? So instead of going hungry and surviving off of gas station food or whatever it is you're eating that's not this, you need to give these a try because these make the day so much better. Head to factor75.com or click the link below and use code RudyFB50 to get 50% off your first box, plus free breakfast for 1 year. Again, that's factor75.com using the code RudyFB50 to get 50% off your first Factor box, plus free breakfast for a year. Now that I'm not so hungry and I can think a lot more clearly, we need to get this floor finished up on the rat rod. All right, so we got this floor all tacked together to my liking. I'm gonna have Zach get the other side wrapped up to about this far, but I just got a notification that our radiator got here, so we should go check that out.
There you go.
Oh, that's big. That's nice. Bring that over here. It's perfect. This is, I mean, obviously this is all dented up here, so it won't go over it, but
Yeah.
but it'll go over it. I think that's gonna work pretty good. We got a floor to build. So this is the start to my brake pedal assembly. And this part right here bolts to the floor. I originally was gonna have it bolt flat to the floor, but I think that just puts it way too far forward for what I need. So what instead, like the curve we have on that side, I'm gonna mount that plate up on the curve. So that means I need to notch this out a little bit because it doesn't have very far of a throw because I didn't want air gaps there. So yeah, just some more notching and then get the floor in, and then we need to get the rest of that floor and firewall in so that we can get this in. All right, so after doing some more investigating and looking, this brake pedal needed to be modified, so I did that because it's actually gonna go up on the flat of this floor. And then that pivot arm, when you step on the brake, oh see, when you step on the brake, it pushes that backwards. And then it's gonna be attached to a rod that runs in this little cavity here under the floor, through a bar, back to our master cylinder, which is mounted so gracefully right here. All right, there's a couple of things that I know I'm gonna have to address in some way or another, but the center line of this, I can't get close enough to the ground to be perfectly in line with this rod here, this big one. And so I know that I'm gonna need to put an S-bend like that in it. So I wouldn't be too worried about this rod if it was just straight, but since that S-bend is in it, I know that if I'm pushing on it all the time, it kind of creates a weak spot. And so to combat that, there's a spot we're going through the frame that I'll drill a hole and it will actually catch that right there. So then the weak point would just be between this S. So this would all be solid and straight, and then through that bend, it risks like bending and blowing out. And that would just not be good because that would mean we lose brakes, which is pretty important. So we might have to beef that up. But in the meantime, I also know that I'm gonna have a big end on this that's gonna bolt to the brake pedal. And I know that bend is not going to slide through the frame. And because we have that end on there, it's also not gonna slide through the frame. So we're gonna have to put a brake in it so that we can get both pieces out. And that's where this piece comes in. I know it looks pretty basic right now, but what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut this in half, and then I'm going to weld one nut to the edge, and then I'm gonna cut this bolt down and slide that into the other side. And I'm just gonna be able to unscrew the pieces from each other so that I can get them out, in and out. Simple enough. All right, this is gonna get pretty technical and interesting, so let's figure this out. In case you're wondering where I got this rusty rod, this is actually the throttle linkage for a Corvair. And then we just tighten that down. We're good to go. That's also our brake pedal like adjustment. All right, okay. Another thing I just noticed, look at where my original mark was. Look how close we are. Perfect. Little interruption on the rat rod because I heard there's another one here. That thing's noisy. Oh, wow. This thing's noisy. I was.
Wait,
Wow.
you want to see how we shift?
Yeah, this is my shifter right here. Just a little rod.
Oh, yeah.
For now. It works, so.
Derby style.
I like the chairs.
Yeah, thank you. You know, the DI.
Yeah, some DI chairs.
Got a ratchet strap
You
holding
see
them
those
down.
hardcore bolts putting them in for now? So
Oh yeah, that's
we just
nice.
wanted to prove that ours is actually running, and we really wanted to take a look at yours.
Yeah, exactly.
That is our competition at the Mats Off-Road Games up against my Rat Rock. I'm not trying to over push a deadline, you know, like to try to get that running, but I really want to go race that guy. And I really want to do it in the Rat Rock. So we gotta get it done. That's the only solution.
Alrighty, I cannot tell you why getting this front piece was so hard, because there's literally nothing different about it compared to that piece. But regardless, I don't know why it took that long, because it literally was the same thing. I was thinking that I would need to like brace the floor a little more, but it's not even all the way bolted in or welded in yet, and it's already like, look at that. You see any movement at all? It's only tacked in spots, and it is solid. It's not resting against anything. It's just super solid. But now I need to get this piece to be able to bolt in right there, just like that. That's gonna be beautiful. So now we just need to figure out where we need to cut those holes out. Okay, I've got the chair so we can see how the position is. Oh, that is really nice. When you're sitting in a project and feeling how the pedals are, a lot of times, like, you don't even notice it once you're in the car. So when you're driving in your car, a lot of times you're not even thinking about how the pedals are moving. But if you start to think about it, you're like, yeah, that's weird. I don't like that. It feels like I have to hold my foot up. But you can drive hours like that without noticing if nobody says a word to you. Actually, this seat goes this way a little bit better. Oh, that's better. That is so fantastic. And how does it look too? It looks pretty good, huh? All right, so other than hooking up this brake linkage, the only thing we have left to do is to bead roll these panels, and it'll be looking really clean in here. Some people have fancy bead rollers. We're not some people. We have Colin and a machine. So I think this is meant to, like, so you could bead roll stuff by yourself, but I've never been able to on this thing. So we're gonna go forward and back. But you're gonna have to like keep track of which way. Okay, that's nice. Okay, stop. Okay, go the other way. Okay, stop. Go back. Okay, all right. One down, piece of cake, right? We only have 14 more to do. Warped. I expected that, see? I just don't know how to fix it. Wow. Jeez. If I had an English wheel, I could fix this, but I don't, and I don't know how to fix this. I think I can bolt this down. I'm just gonna bolt this down. Unless I heated that edge. Let me heat that edge. That's hot. When that cools down, it'll be better. All right, I figured it out. The floor, since we took material out of the center, the edges also need material taken out of them. So if I would have run the bead roller all the way to the end of both sides, it would have had no problem. Aesthetically, it would have looked kind of stupid, but we need to figure out how to shrink that edge. And Harbor Freight has these little sheet metal shrinkers and expanders. So I think we're gonna go to Harbor Freight, grab a set of those, see if they work. I don't know. We're gonna look it up. All right, so we went to Harbor Freight last night, got a sheet metal shrinker and a stretcher, and we had to shrink that panel to help with this distortion. We're still learning lots because this is completely new to me, the bead rolling stuff. And I think in the past, why the panels haven't warped so much is because I usually run the beads all the way through the panel, and that finishes the stretching or the shrinking of the sheet metal. So we were only able to shrink this edge, and I'm not gonna show you how like not distorted it is because it's already bolted in. But we definitely still have some distortion on this other edge. But you know what? After you put a seat in there, you're not gonna be able to tell. It doesn't bother me, it doesn't bother Zach. But we are gonna try to minimize the distortion as much as we can on this next panel. So to counteract basically what we did, we're going to pre-shrink the edge of this metal, only on one side that we can. And then we're going to bead roll it lighter than we did on this one. And we're gonna do it in a few passes to try to stretch the metal out over time rather than just one go. And then it's like too stretched, if that makes sense. How about you run that thing?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's kind of hard by yourself. Okay, go ahead. Oh, wow. Oh, wow.
Dude, I don't know if I have the stamina for that.
You've been training your whole life for this. Nobody's telling you that you have to go that fast either. That's your choice.
That's how fast you were going.
Because I wanted to get it done. I had more determination than you. Are you sweating?
I am sweating. Might need to take my hoodie off.
The real proper way to do this, and I've known better this whole time, I was just trying to get away with not ruining these pieces of metal, is to actually use an English wheel and pre-stretch the area that you're going to be bead rolling, because that bump takes up material within this. It's gonna suck that metal together. And if you pre-stretch it, then when you run it through the bead roller, it will take the extra material that you already set aside for it and make that perfect bead roll. But like I said, I might know the process, but that doesn't mean I know what I'm doing. I do know that this is pretty good though. Let's run it through one more time. You see that curve, Zach? All that hard work paid off. Boom. All right, so as you can see, this panel is distorted far less than the other one was. Still not perfect, as you can tell, but it is way better. It is light years ahead of that other one. Kind of gives the vibes of like a Volkswagen pan. You know what I mean, Zach? Like a Volkswagen Beetle pan.
Yeah, it really does, huh?
I even left enough room for my new shift lever. So this is it. It goes on right here. And then this is my kick down. I believe it gets put back. Just like that. Tons of room. So even though these panels aren't perfect, I still think they look pretty good. And by the time we get the trans tunnel tied in to these bars and everything, I think we're gonna be just fine. So yeah, that's a wrap for today. Till next time, thanks for watching.